Hi, everybody. This is Melissa Nicholson. I'm the founder and CEO of WorkMuse, the first U.S. job share company. And we are here with Job Share Java Live on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And I really felt compelled to put together a training for all of you. And I've got to grab a little Java. You always have to grab a little Java, don't you? At the start of Job Share Java. But anyhow, I hope that you have been having a great week. And I know that this topic is something that I've really wanted to dive into recently, especially as more companies, from smaller kind of boutique type companies all the way up to giants like JP Morgan, are applying job sharing at the co-CEO level, which is huge. So just to tell you a little bit about me, I'm the founder and CEO of WorkMuse. It's the first U.S. job share company. Our company is founded around training, implementation, and support. I job shared myself for nearly a decade in the high stress, 24/7, high burnout radio industry. I worked in advertising and marketing sales and job shared with several partners for nearly a decade. I think I outlasted every 4 general managers, and I think I had 8 or 10 managers in that time. So anyhow, because of my firsthand experience job sharing, whenever I was creating WorkMuse, the foundation of it was around the training that I wish my managers had, the training that I wish our teams had from the very get-go before we ever began job sharing, truly to make sure that it was a fit for everybody, that we had all of the best practices and resources and tools that we needed to implement job sharing at the highest level possible. So it's been, I wanted to, really this topic has come up because there are more and more high level job shares happening across companies. And recently we just featured a blog written by 3 co-CEOs, Serena Liu, Beth Ashworth, and Trent Wallace at workmuse.com/blog. You can go check it out. It's 10 tips for job sharing in an executive role. And it really blew me away. I loved the fact that they're such huge advocates for job sharing, not only for co-CEOs, but for leadership teams, for people going into leadership positions, whether that's top level management, the director level, the C-suite, all of that. And what previously was thought, job sharing is a decades long practice, literally has been around since the 70s, and at first was really implemented and thought to be a working mom only work practice for administrative roles that were easily duplicated. The tasks were easily duplicated. The truth is that job sharing is just this incredible practice that gets even better and better and better the higher up the rung that you get, because the more demanding the job, and it's not necessarily the higher up the rung, there are also jobs like social work, teaching, healthcare, law that are extremely demanding in the way of hours, in the way of travel, in the way of emotional demands, that job sharing just makes so much sense for. And when you apply 2 minds in one role, you are always going to come up with better outcomes for the company, for the stakeholders, for the clients. And so it's just a delight that job sharing itself is being applied and examined at the executive level. So one of the things, I will briefly go over a couple of those tips that Serena and Beth and Trent so graciously shared to empower other people to job share in the CEO role. But the first thing I want you to think about before we do anything is I want you to think about this question. Have you ever wondered if you could job share when your dreams include making it to the director level or even the CEO level? Just really think about that. And maybe you hadn't heard about job sharing before. Job sharing is two people. It's a partnership between two people who share the full-time responsibilities of one job. Often they are working 3 days a week with 1 day of overlap on a Wednesday at 120% of a work week. And often they get full-time benefits and a prorated salary and prorated sick and vacation and all of those good things. But job sharing is very flexible and can be applied in many different ways. Even for people who are at the co-CEO level, they might be working 4 days a week with 2 days of overlap. They might be working even 5 days a week here and there. It's truly a way to divide labor so that you have more time off where somebody else, you're able to hand the work baton to that person and they're able to take it and just go with it. And what I really wanted to create a training around for us specifically today was the mindset shifts that it takes to job share successfully, but even more so at a job where, at a senior level job, where you have direct reports, where you might be at the director level, where you might be in the C-suite and in charge of a division, where you might be the CEO level, in charge of an entire organization. And so when we're thinking about that, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just the tactical that we're looking at. You can devise these are some of the great tips that our co-CEOs, Serena, Trent, and Beth gave, which are wonderful. And they do cover some of the social emotional, the soft skills that are really needed whenever you are literally have a business partner, essentially, in your job, especially if you're at the CEO level, if you're at the management level, the senior management level, the director level. So they, of course, talk about having an overlap day or period of time, a great handover system, taking the lead on some projects, but having your eyes on everything. Tactical, strategic, small things that make a big difference when you are sharing a leadership position. But the mindset, the paradigm shifts that one needs to take when you are truly sharing your role at a high level role at that with another person are very important. So without further ado, I'd love to get into them. So let's go here. How is that popping up? Okay, so mindset shift number 1, and let me see if I can get my picture over here for you. Just a second. It might not do it. Okay. That's okay. We're going to go ahead. Mindset shift number 1, that you need to trust in your partner and be accountable to one another first. So trusting in your job share partner is essential for any job share arrangement to be successful and be rewarding and good and a great, healthy partnership. But when you are job sharing in a role where you have much more responsibility, a much higher level of demand on hours and travel and direct reports, it's very, very important that you trust in your partner and you're accountable to one another first. So your job share team, the two of you, come first in order to lead your overall team together, whether that's an entire company, an entire organization that you're in charge of, whether that's a division that you're in charge of, whether that is your team in your area that you manage. It's really important that you really have a high level of trust in your partner and you're accountable to one another first. So you trust in the decisions that your partner is making. You trust in the things that you two have decided to divide and conquer. You're probably working in kind of a hybrid model where you are sharing the responsibility of the overall team, but you are not, you might have the team divided into two groups based on fit and personality and a variety of variables. But you also are going to make sure that you have overall accountability for the entire team. So trusting in your job share partner's decisions and trusting in your job share partner fully. And that is one of the most important things. And all three of these mindset shifts, by the way, have to do with trust. I'm really going to see if I can get this to do picture in picture. Bear with me for just 1 second because I think it's just a lot easier if it's There we go. Yay, we got it. Okay. I just think it helps. It helps me have some connection and energy with you. So trust in your partner. Be accountable to one another first. The second one that I want to talk about is that you will both be responsible for the overall position. And you're both going to be responsible for your team's results. But you will likely need to divide direct reports by needs, personality fit, which we just discussed. Trust that your employees will be fully supported by you and your partner, regardless of who is the lead. So the first mindset shift is trusting in your partner. Trusting in your partner themselves. Making sure that the two of you are on the same page when it comes to big decisions, when it comes to big projects, big deliverables, all of those things. Whether you're the lead or your partner is the lead. Whether you are in charge of a very specific piece of implementation or piece of the business or a project, and your partner is in charge of a different piece, whether you're in charge of the detail-oriented things and your partner is in charge of the big picture things, and your team is divided on and knows to go to one of you on one and one of you on the other. In fact, I had, when I worked in radio advertising sales, we had a co-director of sales, two high-level women who were the co-director of sales. And that was the case. We had agency business, advertising agency business that was very different and really based on very detail-oriented deliverables for campaigns. And then we had clients that needed very creative, out-of-the-box marketing, high-level marketing strategies. And so it was really great because one of our leaders was very creative, loved diving into that area, and she was the person that we would turn to when we needed that. And the other leader came from a national sales background, had really high level of detail-oriented in this area, and knew how to work from the agency side. And she was the person that the other members of our team would go to when we needed that extra help. In truth, job share partners are so accountable to one another, they often don't need managers. But in the case of job sharing, when you are the manager, when you are the director, when you are the VP, or when you are the CEO, These are things that you really need to make sure is that you have that trust in your partner and you're hyper accountable to one another. So you basically take care of one another as though you're a family member, as though you are, I hate the word work wife, so work partner, but as though you are each other's right arm, right? So, but when it comes to, so this is to your partner. When it comes to your team, though, you need to trust in your partner to manage and delegate and deal with the problems that arise and finding solutions for those problems with those team members, with those with those departments. So that's really important. So the important thing to remember is that for the overall job itself, yes, you two are in one position together, one very high level position. You have the benefit of being able to share hours, of being able to split the hours, split the workload, and split the travel, which I know can really be a barrier for many people from ever making it to the director, CEO level, VP level, or even top management level. So that's a really important thing to consider and think about too, and it's one of the reasons that job sharing is such an equalizer. It is such an equity. It really truly is a diversity, equity, inclusion practice. It's a talent practice and it's an innovative talent practice, but it is a diversity, equity, and inclusion practice. And the reason that it really is, it's great for not only ethnic and all kinds of diversity. You can have cross-gender job sharing. You can have cross-generational job sharing. You can have, cross-gender identification job sharing, cross-cultural cultural job sharing. And you can really bring in diversity of thought and diversity of background to have much better results. In fact, I highly recommend that when looking for a partner, folks look for a partner who shares values and philosophy and all of the important things needed to have a good job share partner fit and a good job share team. But find somebody who is different from you, that comes from a different background, whose life experiences are different, not the same, because that's going to bring better results. Just like companies see better results when they have diversity, ethnic diversity, and also gender diversity. It's the same. It's the same for job share teams. And if you're the leaders, if you're leading, what a fantastic example from the top down to apply diversity and inclusion from the top down. And you're going to create a more equitable workplace. And this is the reason. Primarily, I'm going to say caregivers. There are many other groups that are often excluded from the C-suite level, the director level, and even CEO or top management, senior level. And the reason is because primary caregivers, who are often almost exclusively women, even for women who do not have children and don't make that choice to become parents, are often caught right in the crux at the senior level of their career when their parents, they've got aging parents and they have to step in. I know this firsthand. I am there right now. My mom has Alzheimer's, and it's something I never would have expected. She's quite young, and I have become her primary caregiver. I had to take a little bit of a step back in the previous months. And that is something I never even saw happening. I did not see that happening for myself at this stage in life. Even though I help women with this all the time, even though I see women facing this all the time, even though I've worked with so many coaching clients who have been right there and been forced out of the workforce. And in this point of time where we are in the pandemic, where we didn't have reliable caregiving for kids, even for aging parents, and we didn't have reliable school. And we still don't in some cases. Kids get sent back. Kids get sent back and it's 10 days, 2 weeks. Job sharing is a game changer. Previously, it would have been a game changer for people who have their career dreams include really, really getting to a high level in their career. But they're caregivers because the hours, the workload, and the travel. And we may not be there right now with all the travel, and it may be easier in some ways, but we will be. And so those are the reasons that job sharing levels out the playing field and opens it up and is an equity tool for companies. There are so many cross-gender job share teams happening at the co-CEO level. So JP Morgan, those were 2 women. But there are other companies like Octopus Ventures and Jungle Creations that have recently, in the last 6 months, been in the news that have cross-gender job shares. That is diversity. That is diversity of background. And it brings better outcomes. You can also do incredible succession planning with somebody who has really got a lot of institutional knowledge and has a lot of, and who has many years in their career but would like to work in a different way. And you can bring them on with somebody who's on the rise and really could use that hands-on mentorship. And they can job share the senior role. So you can pull someone in, which is fabulous. And then they're trained and gain all that institutional knowledge almost in a first-hand way, trained on the job, professionally developed on the job by the leader. So that's an amazing thing to do also for companies, especially when you're looking to replace high-level leaders. That's not such an easy thing to do. When you're really looking for top talent and you need somebody to be, truly catered in, truly brought up, truly taught everything they need to be taught to take over and to take the reins one day. So it's an incredible practice for that as well. So trusting that your team, your organization, or your division is going to be fully taken care of by your partner. So you trust in your partner. You trust that everything, your employees will be fully supported by you and your partner, regardless of who is the lead over that division, that project, that group. And it's a really wonderful thing. So the next thing, that's the last thing. Let's go to the next thing. Oops. Okay. The next thing is one of the very hardest. And this is hardest for job share teams as well at any level. And the reason it's so hard for job share teams, first of all, we are socialized in a certain way, correct? So we're socialized in a certain way. We are taught that you have to be on top of all the details. You have to know every single thing that's going on. Especially the people who are attracted to job sharing itself, the practice, are high-level folks. They are highly accountable. They are organized taskmasters who enjoy working with groups, enjoy working in a team environment, and have a high level of regard for their work. They like to do things and do them well. They like to do things and do them timely. They like to really make sure that they are taking care of people along the way. So one of the things that is so wonderful when people come together and find out about job sharing and really realize this can be a practice that can not only change their lives, it can change their personal lives, it can change their work lives, and really allow them to be this really focused and productive, incredible team together. But one of the hardest parts for almost all job share teams, and specifically for leaders, because when we were taught leadership, and I'm going to look at, I have a few notes on this, but I was just really thinking about this. We are socialized to believe that leaders have all the answers. The work system that we have inherited that is changing more rapid than I thought, only because it's been driven by technology and the pandemic and the environment and the pandemic and the pandemic and the pandemic. But that environment has told us that to be a leader, you have to you have to be decisive, and you have to have all of the answers. That the system that we work in for most organizations was founded on a top-down hierarchical type system. So almost like authority figure up here and then down the rungs. Not collaborative. Not the way a lot of organizations who are newer organizations are trying to be open, collaborative, and we're trying things out. But it was designed when the workforce, it was designed during the Industrial Revolution when the workforce didn't include women or people who weren't white men, frankly. And so it wasn't designed for the extremely diverse country that we have now and the high percentage of women that we have working. Sadly, many women were forced out of their jobs during this pandemic because we have almost zero social safety net. And so when they were primary caregivers to either kids or parents, and depending on what happened in their jobs and what happened to their demands at home, many women were forced out. So where women outnumbered men in the workforce in December of 2019, and by one short year later, December of 2020, women lost all the jobs and men gained all the jobs in that month. It was insane. And so really having to make up what has happened is going to be, it is a crisis for our nation. It is a crisis for companies. And what has specifically happened to working mothers. So having a mindset shift on what leadership was all about is really important. So the truth is, when you're job sharing, when you're sharing your role, whatever role that is, the wonderful part about sharing a role that's high level is that it's often very lonely. It's lonely at the top. You have direct reports, but you don't have peers that are doing the same job you are or a similar job you are. You have to find mentors at other companies, at other organizations that can really empathize with the things that you're going through in your job, the decisions that you're making, and help you through decisions. Everybody is so busy that it's often hard to even find that. So having a job share partner is really going to up-level the way, it's going to really enrich the way that you are able to make decisions as a team for your organization. So this is the mindset shift. Sorry that I took a turn to get there. But when your partner takes the lead on deliverables, projects, or managing direct reports, know they might do it differently, but let go of your ego and the control to trust that they will do it well. So this is really, these mindset shifts are all about trust, right? It's trust in your partner. Have that innate trust in one another. You trust that they are going to do they are going to do their very best for whatever problem-solving things come up in your position, and trust that they are going to have the best intentions when it comes to your employees and when it comes to you and when it comes to the company. Trusting that for the employees that you manage together, the division that you are in charge of, the area of the country that you are in charge of, the area of specialty that you're in charge of, trusting that for whatever your job entails, that your employees will be taken care of by your partner just as though they were by you. And this one is letting go of the feeling that you need to be over all things. That if a huge presentation or a big deal going down, if your partner takes the lead on it and they will do it in a slightly different way. And it won't be your way. And as you ramp up together and as you work together, you are going to lean into these differences that you have, professionally develop and learn from one another. And you're going to take the best of every area that each of you has, become better in it, and let the other person lead in that area so that you can handle this high-level job that requires so much of you, that requires so much of your energy, your mind, your time, your emotional energy. And you are going to have to let go of the ego that got you into your place, that got you into your place of leadership in the first place. That can do, let's work it out, as my son says, workaholic. Being a workaholic, job sharing is great for workaholics because they must pass over the baton, hand over the hat half the week, and it requires that they not look over their partner's shoulder. Now, yes, you will need to be there for big decisions, big things, but those things you will find yourself in a system that works seamlessly, and you will really be able to unplug and engage in your personal life with the people doing the things that you enjoy most. And who could ask for more? You don't have to give up your ability to live a life because you want to be a high-level career person. You can still have a life. You can be a more dynamic leader. You can be a more engaging leader. You can be more creative for the people and the company that you work for. Because you are going to have the power of two minds in one role, two sets of skills, two strengths, two sets of ideas. Your backgrounds are going to make you better as you meld. And you never have to just be like this. You're always going to be like, and it's going to be fabulous. But you have to be able to let go of your ego. And you have to not be too precious about your job share. You have to be flexible in the way that you're working in a flexible practice. And you have to really inform other people of how to work with your team and make it easy on them. But let go of the ego and let go of the control to trust in your partner that they will do everything that you would do well, even though it will be different. It will be handled differently. And these are the things that make for great leadership too. Because together, you do not want a partner where you're on the same page 24/7. You want to work through problems together, have different points of view on ideas, come to better outcomes by bringing in that diversity of thought and those ideas and what you think is going to work well and what your partner thinks is going to work well. And maybe they don't always match, but you really have to make the case to one another and you have to work through it together. And that is going to bring a very unique leadership style to your company and to your direct reports. And the last thing I want to talk about is for all of these folks who might be watching this that are like, this is great, Melissa. It really sucks. I'm not a VP. I'm not a CEO yet. I wish that I could have felt like I could have gone for those things. I want you to know that for those folks who have been forced out, who have had to take a step back in their career because of their caregiving responsibilities or other things too, that If you've had your eye on, you have these dreams, you have these hopes for yourself, you're in an industry that you love, and you work with people that enrich your life, and that you would really like to go for a higher level role, or if you've taken a career break or been forced out and you want to get back in, this is the one thing that job sharing can really do for people uniquely. I cannot think of another practice where you can level up into a job share. And what that means is finding a partner in the senior position that you desire. It's one way to level up. Especially if you've come from a career break and you're in your 40s, 50s, late 30s even for women, and you are ready to lean into your career now. I'm not an empty nester. I definitely am in the middle school years, but for anybody who's an empty nester and they are ready to get back in, but they don't want to be juniored and they don't want to face ageism, and they're just really, quite frankly, don't want to go against the slog that is interviewing, being told a lot of really demeaning things about your experience, but want to really be able to access and hold on to and really take that experience that you had, those mad skills that you developed when you were taking a career break, whether they were working as a board member for a nonprofit, whether you were organizing the PTA, whether you had leadership positions and volunteer roles, whatever those things were. Taking all of your education, the experience you had beforehand, the experience you had during the time where you were a primary caregiver, where you were out of the actual workforce, and utilizing those skills. Because let me tell you something. AI is going to take up to 20% of the jobs in the US. It's higher than other European countries. And the jobs that are going to be available to humans it's already happening, but when it really takes off, the jobs, they are going to be the soft skills. And guess what? Those soft skills are the ones that women have developed. And they are also the skills that you've developed in your personal life. They are also the skills that come innately to people who job share, and that job shares develop as they go. So, conflict resolution, creativity, it's all these C skills, all the soft skills. And when you're working with two minds in one job, you are going to level up. So finding that partner, finding someone who either is or has the same interests that you do, and going for a top level position is one way that you can use a job share, even if you are not at the level in your career that you want to be at. And whether that's pay or whether that's position. And in this case, I'm talking position. There are so many women who also have an equitable pay. And one of the things I always tell women is to negotiate 30% more for the raise than the number you have in your head, because that's on average how much men get more. So, but leveling up and getting into a job share with someone, especially someone who's in transition, who has a life transition happening. And if you're looking for a senior level position, there are a lot of people that are in senior roles who have some healthy experience, and they're facing aging parent caregiving, or they're facing challenges where they want to work in a different way. And this can be your opportunity. So I don't want that to be there. Okay, let's go back to I swear this thing is just not working with me today. I might just end it where we're picture in picture. I kind of cannot stand this for us. Okay, let me see. Thank you for bearing with me for a second here. Thank you for bearing with me. Isn't this so annoying? Okay. I am having some difficulties with the software, so I'm just going to wrap it up. But I want to leave you on this note. I want to let you know that the world is changing. Things are changing, and they're changing very fast. And companies are getting savvy, they're getting innovative, they're really thinking about how they're rethinking the status quo as they prioritize well-being. The co-CEO model is on the uptake, even with giants shaking things up like JP Morgan. And the truth is that these companies are thinking of how can they take care of employee well-being all the way to the top. Because this is what most high-level leaders are expressing that they're having a difficulty with, is their health and well-being during this time. And job sharing is a way that companies are able to really take care of all of their employees, all the way on up to their senior managers, to the directors, to people in the C-suite, and even to CEO. So I just don't think I can get this to go back. So I'm going to leave you with this, and we're going to go ahead and close out the training since we're having some technical difficulty. But I want you to really take this training and think about what it would mean to you if you could go for your career dreams. So many of us have been squashed a little in the last year and a half, have given up on some dreams. And I want to empower you to know that if your dreams include making it to the director level, making it to the CEO level, making it to a management level even, you can do this and you can manage this job sharing. And you can still have a life where you are able to engage in your life, put your health and well-being first, put your family first, put the people that you care about and the things that really bring you passion in your personal life, because we all have those as well, even if we're very passionate about our jobs and our careers. And I want you to think about how a job share could affect you. And then I want you to consider these mindset shifts and think about the trust that this would take to work in this type of arrangement and how much it may enrich not only your personal life, but the kind of leader that you show up as at work, the kind of engaged, excited, renewed leader that you can be. And I want you to really consider and think about this as an option for your life. If you are interested in job sharing, this really has conked out on me today. But if you're interested in job sharing, I also want to give you a free resource to learn a little bit more. It's the 3 keys to success in a job share and the 3 steps to getting the job share green light. And this can go all the way on up. So it tells you a little bit more about the 3 important things that you need to really make sure that you have to make sure that job sharing is right for you, and the ways that you can talk about the way that you can present a job share to your organization. So it's workmuse.com 3 keys. Thank you for joining us for Job Share Java. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, and I hope you have a really fabulous week. And know that if your career dreams include getting to a senior level, a management level, a C-suite, even the C-suite, the director level, a CEO, you can make those possible in a job share. Other people are doing it. Companies are embracing this idea. It is happening. This is not something, I've been in this space for over 5 years, nearly 6 years. This is not something that has happened very often before. I believe before the pandemic, I probably came across a handful of co-CEOs. So it is happening, and it's something that to be on your radar and something to know that you can do too. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.